you will ever read about. And what's fascinating about her is she was able to reach such a high level of greatness despite the fact that we don't find too much information about her in our traditions. But the little that we have about AlBaneen has proven to be so great. AlBaneen alayha salam is the symbol. AlBaneen is the embodiment of sacrifice. If you want to understand the virtue of sacrifice, the virtue of altruism, righteousness, true righteousness, until you give from that which you love. You can never fully understand this verse until you hear the story of AlBaneen. Because there is nothing that we love more than our children. Is there anything that we love more than our children? We sacrifice our money for our children. We sacrifice our time, our health, and sometimes we are willing to sacrifice our own lives just to please our children, just to keep them alive. Imagine AlBaneen alayha salam sacrificed her 4 sons for Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Tell me about an act of sacrifice, righteousness greater than that. This is AlBaneen alayhi salam. Amir al-Mu'mineen wants to marry someone. He needs a wife. And he goes to his brother Aqil, his older brother. Aqil, as the tradition states, was an expert in the Arab ancestry. That was an entire science. Who is the son of who, which brave, this smart, this tribe is this tribe is that. So Imam Ali approaches his brother Aqil and he tells him, I want you to find me a wife. Aqil tells him, what are you looking for? Tell me the qualities. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, I want her to be someone brave. أنجبتها الفحولة من العرب. Someone that is known to be brave and courageous. And I want her family, her lineage, her ancestors to also be known for their bravery and their courage. Aqil says, why? What do you want to do with her courage? Anta ba'ad, you're courageous, you're brave. Why do you need a brave wife with you? Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam says, because I want her to give me birth, to give me a child, to give birth to a child that will protect and defend my son Hussein on the day of Ashura. How many years before Ashura is this? Based on the first report that we have, the marriage took place 2 years after Fatima al-Zahra, so 12th year Hijrah. Imam Hussein was killed in the year 61 after Hijrah. Yani this is exactly 47 years before Karbala. Correct? Or more? 49 years. 49 years before Karbala. Before the day of Ashura, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam is planning for that day. Amir al-Mu'mineen is trying to create those individuals. He's trying to set up the plan. He's trying to surround his son Imam al-Hussein, who's so young now, with individuals that are brave and are willing to give their lives for Imam Hussein. Based on the second report, it's 39 years before. So this shows you how important Ashura was in the entire saga of Karbala, that Amir al-Mu'mineen was planning so many years ahead. So Aqil, he goes and he finds him, Fatima bint Hizam al-Kilabiyya, AlBaneen. Now the question is, why did Imam Ali go to his brother Aqil? Who is more knowledgeable? Aqil or Imam Ali? Doesn't Imam Ali say, Saluni qabla an tafquduni? Ask me before you lose me. Ask me about anything and I can answer you. Ask me about the earth, about the skies, about the Quran. There is no one that has more knowledge than Imam Ali alayhi salam. So why would he go to his brother who is inferior to him, who has less knowledge than him, to ask him to help him in finding a wife? It seems, brothers and sisters, that the Imam had a few goals. Wanted to send some messages by going to his brother Aqil. Number one, if Imam Ali alayhi salam is going to an expert to find a good wife, or for the sisters a good husband, then you and I should be more concerned about that. You and I are more in need of guidance when it comes to choosing a spouse. Do not independently, never independently choose your spouse. Never independently, without consulting people who know that individual, people who have wisdom in your community. Never go about and getting married and tying the knot. Because there are so many things that you may not see, so many things that you may miss when it comes to dealing with your spouse. What's the common way today for two to get married? Either they meet on Facebook, they chat for a couple of days, and then next step is pick up the phone and make an appointment for a katb kitab. Why? Because she seemed nice, she seemed funny, she seemed smart, her profile was pretty nice on Facebook. I guess she fits the profile. Or maybe I meet her at Qahwa House, or I meet her at this burger place in front of us, Tasties, or wherever, or at school, at university, and I spend some time with her and I realize she's the best. Or she meets the guy at some place and they meet 3, 4, 10, 15, 20 times, and they realize they are best suited for each other. This, brothers and sisters, does not always work out. Why? Because you will not find out the true nature of someone just by going out with them, just by spending time with them. You know why? Because sometimes we become expert actors when we know we are being assessed for marriage. There's a girl that is assessing me for marriage. There's a guy that is assessing me as a sister for marriage. I'm going to be on my best behavior, right? I'm not going to do the silly, stupid things I do in front of my younger siblings at home. I'm going to be very, very responsible. I'm going to behave very well, correct? Even if I go to meet the in-laws, the parents, I will sit like this, so humble and nice, correct? As if I am, I don't know who, correct? So unfortunately, this is how we human beings are. When we're being watched, we tend to behave much better. So no matter how many times you went out with her, or she went out with him, at the end of the day, how can you guarantee that this is the true personality of this person? And this is why many times marriages end up quickly in divorce, or they take a quick downhill. Just recently, two couples, they called me, they want to get divorced. When did you get married? 2-3 months ago. 2-3 months ago. So I asked the brother, why? It's so soon. He's like, she's not the person I thought. Exactly. She's not the person you thought because you never even thought. You just saw, you like, you marry. Did you think, Aslan? Did you ask? No. And that's why I always say, brothers and sisters, one of two things. Number one, either ask individuals that know this person. They know that individual personally for years, the close circle of that individual. If you have access to them, see what they have to say about the potential spouse. And number two, a good way is if you travel with someone. Traveling with someone reveals the true nature of someone. You can act for an hour, 2, 3, but can you act for 3 days, for 1 week? Unless you're a professional actor, usually no. So if you travel with someone, or you ask someone who knows that individual for years, this would be a much better indication of that person's true character. And this seems to be the point that Imam Ali was trying to teach us. If I, Ali ibn Abi Talib, go and consult the experts to find a good wife, then you can imagine how much we, fallible, is also trying to show us a point. That when you get married, also keep in mind that this person you're getting married to will be the father or mother of your children. Many times when we get married, it's about love, it's just about me and her. Do we click? Do we enjoy each other? If we do, alhamdulillah. How many of us enter a marriage thinking that, is this the right mother for my children? Is this the right father for my children? Imam Ali didn't care how AlBaneen looked like. Imam Ali alayhi salam didn't care if she makes him happy. Imam Ali cared that she gives him a noble child that will make him proud on the day of Ashura, that will protect Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Does anyone really plan like that? I want a child that in 30 years, he will hold the banner of Islam in America, for example. This is what the Imam is teaching us. Make your vision much farther. Be far-sighted. Don't just plan, day by day. Oh, today we had fun, we enjoyed lunch, khalas, let's get married. No, make sure you have a plan. And finally, the third point, the Imam possibly is trying to highlight the famous law that says the apple does not fall far from the tree. If the parents are brave, most likely the child will be brave. If the parents are generous, most likely the child will inherit that generosity. Many of the traits that we carry are inherited from our parents. The other day I was reading an article that said up to 60%, whoever is smart here, and whoever feels proud about being smart, intelligent, you have to thank your parents. Because up to 60% of your intelligence could be because of your genes. The genes that your mother and father gave you, and then 40% it could be your own work. So Imam Ali alayhi salam is highlighting this fact, that when you choose a spouse, know where to look. Know which families to seek, because these traits, they are inherited. They are passed on. And even if they are not biologically inherited, just the fact that I grow up with a generous father and generous mother, common sense dictates that I'm going to become generous because I see this act every day. I have a brave father, brave mother, I'm going to be brave too because I'm going to see these acts every day and I will learn to imitate. Now, this is not always the case. Yes, sometimes you have some children that are different than their parents, but in the majority of times, your child will be a second copy of you. Your child will resemble you, not just in looks, not just in genes, also in virtues and akhlaq and character. Imam Ali alayhi salam, all these points he highlights with his marriage to AlBaneen by going to Aqil. And this story in itself shows how great AlBaneen is. That Imam Ali alayhi salam chose her. Imam Ali alayhi salam married her, and he was looking for someone special, someone that can give him that child, Abu al-Fadl Abbas alayhi salam. And she did indeed deliver on everything that the Imam had hoped. Everything that the Imam was looking for, he found AlBaneen. She was a great servant to Imam Ali. She was a great servant to Imam al-Hasan and Hussein. It's narrated, it is said that when she got married, she made a request from Amir al-Mu'mineen. What was the request of AlBaneen? Her request was, Ya Ali, my name is Fatima, but I want you to call me by my kunya, by my title, nickname, AlBaneen. It's said that AlBaneen, this was given to her even, when she was young, a child, before she had children, because her grandmother was AlBaneen. She was also named AlBaneen. That was her second name. Imam Ali says, why? Fatima is a beautiful name. She tells Imam Ali, according to this narration, that when you call me by my name, Fatima, I'm afraid that Hassan and Hussein will remember their mother, Fatima Zahra. Because you know the pain. You know that injury in the heart of Hassan and Hussein of losing their mother at such a young age. That never healed until they died. So when you call my name, Fatima, and they listen, I'm afraid that may hurt them. Look at the love, look at the passion, AlBaneen. The respect that she had for Imam al-Hasan and Imam al-Hussein. So everything she had, she intended it, she vowed it, she gave it to Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salatu was-salam. And finally, even her own children, she sacrificed them all for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Like I mentioned in the beginning, we are willing to sacrifice everything for our children. How does a woman reach a state in which she is willing to sacrifice her children, 4 of them, for another individual? That is the love and passion of AlBaneen alayha salatu wassalam. 4 brothers, all of them like shining moons, not just Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, even the other 3 brothers of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. You have Ja'far, you have Uthman, you have Abdullah. these three shining moons, the daughters, the sons of AlBaneen and Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhim as-salatu was-salam. After they were all killed in Karbala, AlBaneen, it is said, was in the city of Medina. Imam Zainul Abidin comes back with the caravan of all the women, the orphans and the widows. As they enter Karbala, as they enter Medina, Bishr ibn Hadlam, one of the companions, he makes a call. Basically, he says two lines of poetry declaring to the people of Medina that Imam Hussein has been killed. يا أهل يثرب لا مقام لكم بها قتل الحسين فأدمعي مدرار الجسم منه بكربلاء مضرج والرأس منه على القناة يدار. He makes a call, he says, "O people of Medina, I bring terrible news. Hussein has been killed in the land of Karbala. His body laid without a head on the sands of Karbala, and his head was placed on a spear and taken from city to city until finally he was buried." AlBaneen, she heard the commotion. She came out. What's going on? What is Bishr saying? So she comes to Bishr. What's going on? Bishr realizes that this woman is kind of lost. She doesn't know what's going on. He asks, "Who is this?" They tell him, "This is the mother of Al-Abbas. She lost 4 sons in Karbala. So be careful how you break the news to her." So he doesn't want to tell her right away. He gradually gives her one piece at a time. He tells her, "عظم الله لك الأجر. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you for your son Uthman was killed in Karbala." She tells him, "Tell me about Hussein." Her passion, her love, her dedication was about Abdullah. He tells her, عظم الله لك الأجر بولدك جعفر. Your other son Ja'far was also killed. She tells him, "Tell me about Hussein." He tells her, "Your third son Abdullah was also killed." "Tell me about Hussein." He tells her, "Ya AlBaneen, your son Al-Abbas, the oldest of your sons, was also killed in Karbala. And his right and left hand, they were both severed on the day of Ashura." Here, AlBaneen could no longer take it. They say she fell to the ground. She was holding the son, they say the son of Al-Abbas. So her grandchild, the child fell out of her hands. And she said, "I wish you had never told me that my son's arms were cut off on the day of Ashura." But yet she remained focused. "But tell me about Hussein. Hussein is what matters most to me. May all my children be sacrificed for Hussein." This is when he told her, "Ya AlBaneen, عظم الله لك الأجر بالحسين." Even Hussein was killed on the land of Karbala, on the sands of Karbala, and his body remained for 3 days without any ghusl, without any burial. And his head was taken to Ibn Ziyad and Yazid for 40 days until it was buried. AlBaneen, it is said, passed out, and she began to cry out, "Wa walada, my dear son Hussein," because Hussein was like a dear son to her. "How can I live after you, my dear son Aba Abdullah al-Hussein?" And she did not live long after the tragedy of Karbala. Some reports indicate a few months, maximum 2 years. AlBaneen alayhi salam lived after the tragedy of Karbala. Indeed, AlBaneen was a hero. AlBaneen was a legend. AlBaneen is a role model for every single one of us to live for Ahlul Bayt, sacrifice what we have for Ahlul Bayt, and die for Ahlul Bayt, insha'Allah. Ta'ala, we ask Allah the Almighty to grant us the love of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salatu was-salam, the loyalty to Ahlul Bayt, the passion that AlBaneen had. And we ask Allah to grant us the ziyarah of Ahlul Bayt in this life, their shafa'ah in the next life. We ask Allah to hasten the reappearance of our Mawla Sahib al-Asri wal-Zaman. And let us recite Surah Al-Fatiha for all the believers that have passed, and specifically for the loved ones that have passed, of those that have sponsored tonight's majlis. Let us recite Surah Al-Fatiha after a loud salawat for Muhammad and Al Muhammad.